Hey guys, it's me. I'm back. Maya, we're DJ Maya sometimes, but right now I'm going by just Maya, and I got Mr. Rogers in the house tonight.
I'm
Say
not
what's
even going to change my shoes because I ain't wearing none.
You're too funny. Love it. And then we have an amazing guest with us today. This is our new podcast, Tainted Tea. It's a spinoff of the Mad Chatter Show. So it's still the Mad Chatter Show, but it's just the morning edition. Eventually, hopefully, this will make it to the radio. So, how do you pronounce your name again?
Coley, Coley. Yep.
Coley, welcome, brother. Welcome to our podcast. Say hello, introduce yourself, and let us know about your paranormal experiences. We're here for a good hour, so you have the floor. You can
All
take
right.
it away.
All right. Well, I'll start. Of course, I just, introduce myself. My name's Coley. I'm 30 years old. I'm from Virginia, USA. My family has had a lot of military background growing up. This is how I believe I've come to have my experiences to begin with, to be honest, but maybe not. I'm not quite sure. But I can tell you the first time I ever had my experience, I was a kid. I was 6 years old. It was one of those things that we were all at a family campground. It was actually called Rainbow Acres. And I remember us all just having a cookout and having a good time, and all of a sudden the family, the campground, everybody just happened to looking in the sky, you know what I mean? And everybody was pointing something out. And it wasn't like a circular disc or anything, but it was a silver ball. It looked like a marble, but it was like all silver. And it didn't have any seams on it. And again, I'm 6 years old now. Okay, so don't really know what it is. I mean, I've seen planes and helicopters and all that stuff by that time, and I can talk and walk and all that stuff. So I asked my dad at the time, what is that? My dad's a huge nut, you know what I mean? So he comes straight out the brickworks with it. That's a UFO, and me being 6 years old, of course, that opens up a whole world of questions for me that I completely don't understand at this time. And of course, I go on about my day and everything. And what's really cool is about this encounter is this when I had my second encounter. I didn't go on here and read my notes that I wrote down for this, if you don't mind. I apologize if you can't see my video. But I had a entity um from one of my past lives, was in a continent called Lemuria. It is related to Atlantis
Yep.
and Thoth. Well, I was a cupbearer in my past life for a very high priestess that learned from one of Thoth's high priestess. So I thought that was very interesting. And he went ahead and corrected me about what I thought I understood. And it's really interesting because I thought I had it all figured out, and let me tell you, I don't. And I still think some of this is crazy that I was told, but it was a huge download one night. When I was 19 was the second one that I ever had. So I had an experience when I was 6, a small, just I think it's called a CE2 or CE3, just sighting. And then I actually had contact, not physical material contact, but I was sleeping in my bed, and it wasn't like waking up and seeing a figure or anything like that. It was like I literally woke up. I felt like something was watching me. And then all of a sudden, again, I know this sounds crazy, but a hole, I guess I can, like a portal, I guess, opened up in my room. Not like in the middle of the room or anything. It was like on the wall. And three, what I would guess is grays, but I don't think they were grays. I think they were EBN, the the same thing as a gray, but they're a little bit
Even.
bigger. Yeah. and
Yep.
it was three of them. Of course, I was frightened, um, and I was frozen. It was like I had sleep paralysis almost, and I just heard a voice in my head to tell me to pretty much that I was going to be okay and that they weren't going to hurt me, but they really needed me to do something, but they couldn't take me. I had to do it on my own free will. So I all of a sudden there was like a wave of, I had scareness, freaking out, and then a wave of him telling me this in my mind. I'm hearing it in my mind. I'm freaking out about that, and then all of a sudden it's just love, all love. That's all it was. That's all I could feel. And honestly, I've been in love. I have a girlfriend. I've been down that road. I know what love is. This is an undescribable feeling of love. That's the only way I can really describe that type of love, the way I guess I would say he, because I heard what I would think a male voice in my head, but I don't know for sure. Anyways, I went with them, and all of a sudden I walked through the wall, and, which I thought was crazy, by the way. I walked through the wall, and I am on a lower platform, and I can look up, and I see nine beings all together, three, and then three, like one in my middle, right to my left, and I'm looking up at like what I would say is like a command center of like a deck of a starship, and the three that came into my room were standing in front of me. Well, two of them proceed to walk to the back of, I guess, the deck, and walk up the stairs to the other nine beings. And in front of the nine beings, I see what I guess is screens, but it was just lights, and it's just illuminating their front faces. So I couldn't see any buttons or what it was or any writing or anything like that. And the whole time this is happening, it's very hard to focus on the entities themselves or the extraterrestrials or whatever. I try not to say grays so much because I just don't feel like it was them for some reason. But I couldn't focus on them all the way, except for the one that stood right in front of me that I actually touched hands with and that guided me through the portal. And when I did this, this is what I heard in my head. And this is what I had to actually sit down and write down and go back in my notes from when I had this experience to go back so I could tell it to y'all. All right. So this is what I got out of my thing. This is my opinion, and I'm sure everybody else has their own opinions on Atlantis and all that stuff. Atlantis was explained in my reality from an entity that is way more advanced in technology and spiritualism that I can think of. You will either believe in my reality or you won't. But don't be hating. It's just me. Conflicts will be conflicts, and beliefs will be beliefs at the end of the day. Your own realities are up to you, and your decisions are up to you. All I can do is lead you to the well. I can't force you to drink the water. I get people all the time asking me about Atlantis. I give people my reality to them because I've gone to expos and I've gone to other conferences. I've dedicated to about 15 years of my life, I'd say, on researching these topics. Egyptianology, numerology, astrology, and I am no way, shape, or form a professional in any of these things. I have just done so much research, I feel like I've gone to college for these things. And it leads me back to this. So, Earth. From what I was told, Earth is not called Earth. Earth was not Earth. It's not Mother Earth. It's called Atlantis. Atlantis wasn't necessarily a continent that was Atlantis. It was called Lemuria. That had Atlantis on it, which was the capital of like the world. And then that's how Atlantis is, okay? And this planet called Tiamat, about 65 billion years ago, it was a very big planet. Very, very big planet. And in the time, there was a hell of a lot of asteroids all around Tiamat and a couple moons. One of the biggest moons, was called Mir, M-I-E-R. And Tiamat is spelled Tiamat. M-A-N-A-T. They slammed a piece of loose rock, hit Tiamat, which in turn took the rock in the planet Mirror along with it. And oh wait, I'm sorry, I apologize. The chunk of rock hit Tiamat, and then Tiamat slammed into the planet called Mirror, which was considered its moon, but big enough to be a planet. It took that rock and the planet of Mirror approximately 22 million years to fully merge, and then boom, we have what we call Mother Earth, but what really is Atlantis. So after forming what we call Mother Earth, the Atlanteans came down to terraform this planet, Atlantis, so it would be livable. But over many, many years, people have distorted the true story and called this planet Mother Earth. I disagree with this theory and go with what Thoth, the leader of the Atlanteans, named it 65 billion years ago, Atlantis. And below, I've put more details about Atlantis. Sorry, that was a reference to myself. Mother Earth was originally called Atlantis, as forementioned. These people looking for Atlantis, in my opinion, are wasting their time and money. When the people today call this planet Mother Earth, I call it by the Atlanteans' name of it, Atlantis. Atlantis was first created 65 billion years ago along with the Earth as it was terraformed. The Atlanteans came down to originally teach the humanoids that were on this planet at the time, Atlantis, in parentheses again, that it had been a star seeded from the Palladian star system and other malevolent entities or aliens. The Atlanteans taught the humanoids of Atlantis how to terraform this planet to make it livable. And in return, the humanoids work for the Atlanteans, mining gold or other aspects that they may need. And in form, the Atlanteans taught us teachings. They rewarded the humanoids with food, liquids. They taught us how to make shelters. They taught us art. They taught us everything. When this planet was first formed, the only place that was already here was the island of Hawaii. And that's it. The whole Earth was surrounded by water, and that's where it was, Hawaii. That's it. By terraforming the Earth, of course, the other continents rised up out of the ocean. So when it was all finished, and it took millions of years to be exact, 21 million years, the Atlanteans were based on a very, very, very technological ships, some 3,000 miles long to 200 miles wide. Can you imagine how big that ship is? That ship is big as a freaking continent, you know? And so when they told me that, like I swear I'm looking like an idiot on this on my experience. My jaw dropped, you know. And so he goes on and telling me, and advanced ships, these number of advanced ships were all around the planet Mother Earth, parentheses again, Atlantis. Because they were so big and they had to be propped up by massive stone pillars under the sea or oceans when the work of this planet Atlantis was completed, they took off back to their planet or in their cosmos and or galaxy star cluster, leaving thus the massive stone pillars to fall into the sea or ocean. And that's why we think Atlantis was on a very advanced technological island near Sardinia, Sardinia.
Sardinia.
And that was my second experience with what I believe was the taller grays.
Okay.
My other
So they told you that? They gave you that information?
Yes, all of that.
Interesting.
And at the end of that, the only thing I could really ask, because I was so mind blown, is the first thing that popped into my head: what can I do to help? And they really didn't give me an answer then, to be honest. They just said that pretty much I needed to know this. Spread the word as much as I can. That's about it. that time. Then he took my hand and walked me back to my wall, and I woke up the next morning. And I thought I was crazy, of course. I feel like I don't like the word abductee. I'm sure there's some abductions happening, but I was never abducted. I was always asked if I wanted to go on my own free will. They never hurt me. They never asked. They never made me go. I was never riding in a car and then all of a sudden I'm abducted and I turn up days later. It was never like that. It was always very benevolent, very just, hey, you need to know this. I think it's not more me. I think my soul fragment, my soul needed to hear these things for my mission, whatever that may be. I don't know what it is yet to accomplish that. But yeah, that's my first experience, and we can talk about that if y'all want, and then I can tell you about my last two. They're not as long, but still interesting.
Yeah. No, I love everything so far, and I'm happy for you that they've never screwed with your time, because they messed me up by 2 minutes one time. And I'll tell you what, I was pissed off for 2 days because I couldn't figure out why I was so off balance. I was fighting with, yelling at my kids. I was angry at my dogs, and it came back to me in another sleep state. They're like, look, we kind of screwed up there. We missed your time by 2 minutes when we put you back. And I was like, okay, well, do you know what you just did in that reality? Because you just pissed me off for 2 days. So, yeah, it's a very jarring experience when they put you back.
It's because I don't believe that they're on linear time. That's why, and I don't think they really grasp everything about linear time. They definitely know about it, definitely, but I don't think they quite grasp the human experience of linear time.
Well, no, because when I've even seen my own experience from a secondary view, like when they take me out, they literally just pull me out of this space, time, everything into like
your body, like they pull your soul out, or
everything
like
freezes
projection,
everything freezes around you, and they pull you out of this reality, and then they put you back right at the exact same spot, right? But the one time they did it to me, they missed it by like 2 minutes and didn't realize how badly it agitates a human.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, not just you, but your whole family. I mean, you're wondering what the hell you are for 2 days long. Your phone probably came back, had 50 missed calls on
it. Yeah.
I can only imagine. I know my phone be blowing up.
Wow.
But I know the time stopping thing, like when they came through the wall, you're right. It did feel like time freeze. Now that you said that, it almost like kind of popped it into my head. Yeah, it did sound like they kind of like, I guess maybe stop time in some sort of way.
They pull you out of time, the reality of time here.
The whole realm.
Yeah, and they tell you everything they need to, and then they just put you back as closely as they can.
Huh. They're able to pause time. They can pause it. They can pause our reality. And so it happens with the blink of an eye. It happens usually when you're driving, but it can happen when you're just like daydreaming. It happens so fast. For me, I had a vision. And when I had my vision, I was like, this is kind of probably what it's like. Because I was walking and I took a step off of the curb. And and when I did that, I blinked. And I saw a whole scenario play out in front of me. And with a blink of an eye, I blinked my eye again, and I was already on the other side of the street getting ready to step up on the curb. And I was like, what the fuck was that? Like,
yeah, that's insane.
Whoa. And then a week later it happened, and I couldn't prevent it. That was
yeah. I just watched something. I actually just heard someone today. I'm sure y'all are familiar with Jimmy Church.
I don't know who that is.
He's does Into the Vortex on the Gaia app.
Oh no, I don't know. I don't have the Gaia
look
app.
into Jimmy Church. Look into him. He's got a really good show on Gaia. It's an app that's pretty much based on only for human consciousness, awareness, raising vibrations, and conspiracy theories and or truth.
Okay, you know who he is, Don? You've heard of him?
I've heard Rob mention the name, and I know, like, yeah, he's basically he's Rob, but on Gaia.
He's a journalist.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then
Researcher.
the guys who do Weaponize, the podcast Weaponize, what's his name? He sat right behind the dude in the congressional hearing in 2022, David Grush. He sat right behind him.
Really?
Corbell. His last name's Corbell. Jeremy Corbell.
Jerry Corbell.
Jeremy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look him
He is
up.
an amazing UFOologist. Like, I could swear he could marry the damn thing. It's insane. I thought I had it bad. But let me go ahead and get tell you
Wow.
about these
But
other
wait,
two
how old
experiences
were
real quick.
you? How old were you really quick when you had the walk to the wall experience? How old did you say you were?
19.
Oh, you were
19.
19. Okay.
19. So it went from 6 to 19. And then the next one I was 23 and I was actually doing prison time. I was in prison for 5 years for some things that we won't say.
That's fine. No one needs to know it's in the past.
Yep, all in the past. I did my due time. Nothing weird, I will say that. I just got to get that out there.
Good to know, right?
So one day I was in a place called Gainesville Penitentiary. It's a level, right? I will talk to that. So I was in Greensville Penitentiary. I was chilling and not doing anything really, just sitting on my bunk. And of course, you really can't do too much in there. I mean, you're in jail. So I'm reading my my book at the time, and my book I was reading was actually a Sanskrit book about like Buddhist sayings and stuff like that. Because there's really not much I could get into in there unless I had something ordered in. So I was just sitting in there. I was about to go to sleep, and all of a sudden, when I fall asleep, it was kind of like an astral projection moment. I came out of my body, turned around, looked at me, saw my cellie. The first thing I did is go right through the wall. I mean, I'm in prison. You think I want to be trapped in prison?
Wow.
So I literally flying in the air now over my own rec yard in the prison. You know, I see the towers, I see everything. I'm like, I'm out of this bitch. You know what I mean? I literally
don't let me get back to
am
my
so
body.
excited. And like so exciting that this is happening right now. I think it raised my vibration just even more. Like, because I was so happy, you know. And I was flying, all of a sudden, boom, I'm not flying anymore. I'm back on the same deck of the same ship, standing in front of the same, what had to be the same entity, because the same voice I heard in my head. Same three things, same three aliens all up top, but the other two that initially came and got me, I didn't see them. Okay. It was just the one that took my hand. Okay? So he didn't say much to me, just, I'm proud of you, which was weird because I was in jail. He told me everything was going to be okay, that this was all a part of my mission and what I wanted to experience. So that was confusing to me because I'm thinking in my head, why the hell would I want to experience anything like this or anything that I've done to get to this point?
Right.
You know, so, but now that I'm where I'm at in my life now and in my spiritualism that I'm now, I realize what he was talking about. You know, and he kind of gave me it was kind of giving me like almost like a boost of morality because this point in my life, you know, I'm the lowest I've ever been. I'm depressed every day. You know, suicide was on my mind. You know, it was a rough time. And then this thing happens, and it's almost like the next morning I woke up and it was like, you're good, bro. Chill out. Eat some Zuzus and Wham Whams and lay down and watch some TV. And that's how I felt for 2 years. I was so comfortable after this point. When my release date came, I didn't even know it was the day.
Oh my God. They were
They
like, yo,
literally
get
knocked
up.
on my door and was like, pack it up. And I said, what? I don't get out yet. They were like, yeah, you do. I was like, oh, bet. Didn't even call my family. Didn't even know. Didn't even know. Called my mom. Was like, hey, I get out today. She's like, what? I was like, yeah, I thought it was like a month or two away. But I was in such a good mindset and in prison
That's
that
awesome.
I was happy.
Wow.
And it's this craziest thing to say that because, I mean, you know, you're in prison. But
Right.
all the drama, all the prison politics, all the guards, all the shenanigans that were going on, it was like it didn't even bother me. Like it was like I didn't even see them, but I knew they were there. I didn't hear them, but I knew they were being loud and talking. I couldn't really stand it. And then my last, but not least, I hope, experience was when I was a year clean, sober. They came, same person, same entity, got me again. But this time, I was already practicing spirituality. I was already into meditating up to about 30 minutes, doing breath work, 2 counts, 3 counts, 4 counts, you know, you name it. I was still trying to find a teacher, if you will, for mediumship, spiritualism, shamanism, that kind
No.
Where'd he go? Bye.
No. Let him come back. Hang on, let me pause this.
What the hell?
Hang on, everybody. Go grab some water because this is about to get good.